In the heart of ancient Babylon, a kingdom of towering ziggurats and glittering idols, the world was drowning in shirk. Every corner echoed with chants to false gods, stone, wood, and stars carved by human hands. And among them stood a man named Azar, a master idol maker. His hands shaped statues, while his heart was blind to the Creator. But in that very house of darkness, in the city of Ur, Allah chose to send light. A child would be born, a boy destined to break the idols his father built. His name, Ibrahim, alayhi salam. From the moment he could reason, Ibrahim, alayhi salam, felt an unease in his heart. He would watch his father sculpt idols, paint their eyes, and sell them to the people, who would later kneel before them. And one day, he asked the question that pierced through generations of blind faith. "Father, why do you worship what you carve with your own hands?" Azar looked at his son in shock. This was no ordinary boy. Even as a child, Ibrahim's mind was guided by fitra, the pure instinct of truth that Allah plants in every soul. But Azar, like so many, feared his son's clarity. He silenced him and continued molding his lifeless gods. As Ibrahim grew, his curiosity turned into conviction. When the night fell, he would look up at the sky, searching for his Lord. One night, he saw a bright star and whispered, "This is my Lord." But when it set, he said, "I do not love those that disappear." Then he saw the moon rising, radiant, full of light, and said, "This is my Lord." But when it too vanished, he said, "If my Lord does not guide me, I will surely be among those astray." And when the sun rose, larger and brighter than all, he said, "This must be my Lord. This is greater." But as it set beyond the horizon, the truth struck his heart like thunder. He stood alone under the fading light and declared, "O my people, I am free from all that you associate with Allah. I have turned my face towards the one who created the heavens and the earth, and I am not among the polytheists." Quran 6:76-79. That was the moment the boy became a prophet, and the light of Tawheed returned to the earth. Reflection: Ibrahim, alayhi salam, didn't inherit truth. He discovered it by questioning what everyone else accepted without thought. And that's the first step toward guidance, the courage to ask what others fear to ask. If you've ever felt lost among voices that all claim to be truth, remember Ibrahim, alayhi salam. He stood alone in a sea of falsehood and chose Allah over everyone else. So pause for a moment and ask yourself, who do you truly worship when no one's watching? If your heart needs a guide to return to that clarity, start the 7-day journey from darkness to light, your roadmap back to Allah. Ibrahim, alayhi salam, had grown into a young man now. His voice carried calm authority, and his words, though simple, pierced the hearts of those who heard him. But his father Azar still refused to believe. One day, Ibrahim approached him again, not with anger, but with compassion. "O my father, why do you worship that which does not hear, nor see, nor can it benefit you in any way? O my father, knowledge has come to me which has not come to you. So follow me. I will guide you to a straight path." Quran 19:42-43. But Azar's heart was sealed by pride. He turned away and said coldly, "Do you reject my gods, O Ibrahim? If you don't stop, I will stone you. Leave me for a long while." That was the first heartbreak of a prophet, to see his own father choose stone over truth. Still, Ibrahim, alayhi salam, did not give up on his people. He watched them gather each year for their great festival, a celebration of their idols. When the city emptied and the people left, Ibrahim saw his chance. He walked quietly into their temple. Rows upon rows of statues, large and small, stood before him, dressed in gold and jewels. Their faces were expressionless, their hands lifeless. Ibrahim lifted his axe, and with one strike, crack, he shattered the first idol, then another and another, until only one remained, the largest of them all. He hung the axe around its neck and left. When the people returned and saw the destruction, their voices shook with rage. "Who did this to our gods? Surely he is one of the wrongdoers." Someone remembered that young man who always spoke against them. "We heard a youth called Ibrahim mention them." They dragged him before the council, led by their arrogant king, Nimrod. "Did you do this to our gods, O Ibrahim?" He looked at them calmly and said, "Rather this, their great one, did it. Ask them if they can speak." Quran 21:63. The crowd fell silent. The logic was devastating. Their hearts knew the truth, that their gods could neither speak nor defend themselves. But pride drowned reason. They shouted, "Burn him! Support your gods if you are going to act." Quran 21:68. They built a massive pit, the largest fire ever lit, so fierce that even birds flying above it would fall dead from the heat. They tied Ibrahim, alayhi salam, in chains, catapulted him into the flames, and in that moment, Allah spoke to the fire, "O fire, be coolness and peace upon Ibrahim." Quran 21:69. The flames obeyed, the ropes burned away, but his skin remained untouched. The fire became like a garden, soft beneath his feet. Not even his clothes were singed. The people stood in stunned silence. Their gods had failed, their fire had failed, their king had failed. Israeliyat, non-authentic narration. Some narrations say that even the angels asked Allah's permission to help him, but Allah said, "If he seeks your help, go." But Ibrahim, alayhi salam, said, "Hasbi Allahu la ilaha illahu. Allah is sufficient for me. There is no God but Him." And Allah commanded the fire to cool, reported in Tafsir ibn Kathir from early narrations. From that fire came not ashes, but a message, that when the world burns around you, Allah can make even the flames cool. That Tawheed is not a belief of convenience. It's a belief tested in fire. And sometimes Allah doesn't put out your fire. He makes it cool for you. If this moment gave you goosebumps, pause right now and like this video, not for me, but as your silent testimony that you still believe miracles happen when Allah wills. Then subscribe, because what happens next in Ibrahim's life will shake your soul. And when this video ends, start the 7-day journey from darkness to light, your step-by-step path to rediscover the kind of faith that survives fire, the debate with the tyrant, and the journey to the land of Sham. The news of the miracle spread like wildfire. A man thrown into flames and walked out untouched. The entire kingdom of Babylon trembled with confusion and curiosity. Among those who heard was Nimrod, the self-proclaimed God King. He ruled over Babylon with arrogance unmatched, a man who had begun to believe in his own immortality. When he heard that Ibrahim's God had saved him from fire, his pride flared like the very flames that failed to harm the prophet. He summoned Ibrahim, alayhi salam, to his court. The debate with Nimrod. The hall was filled with gold, soldiers, and silence. Nimrod sat on his throne, glaring down at the calm young man who stood before him, the man who had defied an empire. Nimrod said, "Who is your Lord, O Ibrahim?" Ibrahim said, "My Lord is the one who gives life and causes death." Nimrod smirked. He waved his hand, and 2 prisoners were brought forward. One he executed, and one he set free. "See," he said proudly, "I give life and death." But Ibrahim's voice did not waver. Indeed, Allah brings the sun from the east, so bring it from the west. Quran 2:258. The court fell silent. The king froze, trapped by the simplicity of truth. The Quran says, "So the disbeliever was dumbfounded, and Allah does not guide the wrongdoing people." Quran 2:258. In that single moment, Nimrod's supposed divinity collapsed before reason. The exile after the debate. Ibrahim, alayhi salam, was forced to leave Babylon. He had shattered their idols, exposed their lies, and humiliated their king. Now he was alone, but never truly alone. He looked to the sky and said with complete surrender, Inni muhajirun ila Rabbi. I am migrating to my Lord. Indeed, He is the Almighty, the All-Wise. Quran 29:26. He walked away from the land of his birth, carrying only faith in his heart. And with him was Sarah, a noble woman who had believed in his message. They left everything behind, wealth, home, comfort, for the sake of Allah. Journey toward the land of Sham, Syria, and Palestine. Their journey was long and harsh, miles of desert under the blazing sun with little food or water. But wherever Ibrahim went, Allah guided him. Tafsir narrations tell us that they settled first in the land of Sham, a blessed region described in the Quran as the land which we have blessed for the worlds. Quran 21:71. There they lived in peace, away from the tyranny of Nimrod. But Ibrahim's mission wasn't over. His heart still longed to call others to Allah, the one who saved him from the fire. Israeliyat, non-authentic narration. It is said that Nimrod, in his arrogance, once tried to prove his power against Allah by shooting arrows into the sky. When they fell back stained with blood, he mocked, "See, I have wounded the God of Ibrahim." But soon after, Allah sent upon his kingdom a plague of mosquitoes. One of them entered Nimrod's nose, tormenting him until he died. Reported in Tafsir Ibn Kathir, Israeliyat source. Reflections from the fire to the palace. Ibrahim, alayhi salam, taught the same lesson, that the strength of truth doesn't depend on numbers, wealth, or armies. It depends on tawheed, pure conviction that la ilaha illa Allah. Sometimes, standing alone for truth means walking away from everything you know. But every step taken for Allah is a step toward His mercy. Pause for a moment. Ask yourself, would you be willing to lose everything for the sake of Allah like Ibrahim did? If his courage moved you, click subscribe right now, because the next chapter of his life will shake your heart. The test of fire was only the beginning. Next comes the test of love, when Allah commands him to leave his newborn son in a barren desert. And if you haven't yet started the 7-day journey from darkness to light, click the link in the description. It's time to rebuild your faith, just like Ibrahim rebuilt his life, one act of surrender at a time. The test of migration, Egypt and the trial of Sarah. As time passed, famine struck the land of Sham. Ibrahim, alayhi salam, decided to migrate again, this time toward Egypt, taking his noble wife Sarah, alayha salam, with him. But this journey would bring a new kind of trial, a test not of fire, nor of idols, but of faith and protection. Tafsir Ibn Kathir narrates that the ruler of Egypt at that time was a tyrant, a man who was known to seize any woman of beauty brought into his land. When Ibrahim entered Egypt, he feared that the king would desire Sarah, who was known for her extraordinary modesty and beauty. So when asked about her, Ibrahim said, "She is my sister." And this was not a lie, for she was indeed his sister in faith. The king summoned Sarah, intending evil, but when he approached her, his hand suddenly became paralyzed. He begged her to pray to Allah for his release, promising to do her no harm. Sarah prayed, and his hand was healed. But when he tried again, it paralyzed once more, until he realized that she was protected by a power far beyond his reach. Terrified, he released her and even gifted her a servant named Hajar, alayha salam. Subhanallah. Even in hardship, Allah was preparing Ibrahim and Sarah for something greater, because from Hajar, the lineage of Prophet Ismail, alayhi salam, would come, and from that lineage, the final messenger, Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Do you see how Allah's plan works? Every heartbreak, every detour, every strange turn, it's all part of a story you can't see yet. And if you truly believe that, then don't leave this story without clicking subscribe. Because these stories remind us that even when life breaks your plans, Allah is still writing your destiny with mercy. Return to Palestine. After their time in Egypt, Ibrahim, alayhi salam, returned with Sarah and Hajar to Palestine, now blessed with wealth, faith, and divine favor. But this blessing would soon come with a longing deeper than any before, the desire for a child. He was growing old, and Sarah was barren, yet he never gave up hope. Allah would soon answer that prayer, but not as expected. Don't scroll yet. The next part of Ibrahim's story will make your heart tremble. The sacrifice, the fire, the miracle child. It's where faith meets the impossible. So make sure you subscribe right now, because the story's next test will change how you see obedience forever. The blessing of Hajar, alayha salam. But Sarah, alayha salam, remained childless for many years. So, by Allah's decree and out of her own will, she gifted her servant Hajar, alayha salam, to Ibrahim in marriage. And through this union, Ismail, alayhi salam, was born, the child of Ibrahim's old age, the joy of his heart. Yet, as always, great blessings come with great tests. Soon after Ismail's birth, Allah gave Ibrahim an unimaginable command, to take Hajar and the baby to a barren valley, with no water, no crops, and no people. The test of separation. Without a word of complaint, Ibrahim obeyed. He traveled with Hajar and the infant to the scorching valley that would later be known as Makkah. When he reached there, he left them under the shade of a small tree near where the Kaaba would one day stand. As he turned to leave, Hajar, alayha salam, followed him and asked, "O Ibrahim, where are you going, leaving us in this desolate valley with no one to help us?" He didn't answer. She asked again and again, but he remained silent. Finally, she said, "Has Allah commanded you to do this?" He turned and said, "Yes." At that moment, her heart found peace. She said with complete trust, "Then He will never abandon us." This was tawakkul, pure reliance on Allah in its most perfect form. The miracle of Zamzam, as narrated in Sahih al-Bukhari, when their provisions ran out, baby Ismail began to cry out of thirst. Hajar, desperate, ran between the two hills, Safa and Marwa, searching for water or help. She ran 7 times, her heart filled with both fear and hope. Then, by Allah's command, the angel Jibril, alayhi salam, appeared. He struck the ground with his wing, and from beneath the feet of baby Ismail, water gushed forth. It was the well of Zamzam, the purest water on earth. Hajar quickly began to contain it, calling out, "Zam, Zam," meaning stop, stop, so the water would not overflow. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "May Allah have mercy on the mother of Ismail. If she had not said Zamzam, the water would have flowed endlessly across the earth." Sahih al-Bukhari, 3364. A city is born. Soon, travelers began passing through the valley. The tribe of Jurhum saw the birds flying over the water and came to investigate. With Hajar's permission, they settled nearby, and so Makkah, the heart of Islam, was born. Reflection. From loneliness came community. From despair came mercy. From the cries of a baby came the eternal spring of Zamzam. That is how Allah honors those who trust Him completely. And today, every single Muslim who performs Hajj, every one of us who drinks Zamzam, is drinking from the miracle that began with the patience of one mother and the obedience of one prophet. Ask yourself, when Allah commands something that your heart doesn't understand, when He takes something you love, will you still trust Him like Hajar did? Because tawakkul isn't believing that Allah will do what you want. It's believing that Allah will do what's best for you, even when you don't see it. If you want to revive that level of faith, to rebuild your heart after years of neglect and spiritual drought, start the 7-day journey from darkness to light. It's not just an ebook. It's a mirror showing you how far you've drifted and how to find your way back to Allah. And don't forget, like, share, and subscribe so this story reaches more souls searching for hope. Reunion and the test of sacrifice. Years passed. Ismail, alayhi salam, grew into a young boy, strong and obedient. Ibrahim, alayhi salam, returned to visit them, and by then Makkah was thriving. But then came the greatest test of his life. One night, Ibrahim saw a dream that wasn't ordinary. It was a command from Allah. He saw himself slaughtering his own son. At first, he thought it might be Shaitan, but the dream came again and again and again, until Ibrahim knew this was not Shaitan. This was revelation. And in a trembling voice, he told his son, as mentioned in Surah As-Saffat 37:102, "O my dear son, indeed I have seen in a dream that I am sacrificing you. So see what you think." Subhanallah. Look at the gentleness of a father who didn't command, but invited his son into submission. And Ismail, alayhi salam, pure in faith like his father, replied, "O my father, do as you are commanded. You will find me, if Allah wills, among the patient." Allahu Akbar. No hesitation, no resistance, just surrender. So the two of them walked to the place of sacrifice. Ibrahim laid his beloved son down, face to the ground. His heart was breaking, yet his faith never wavered. And as he was about to fulfill the command, Allah called out, "O Ibrahim, you have fulfilled the vision." Surah As-Saffat 37:104-105. Then Allah replaced Ismail with a ram from Jannah, and this became the legacy of Eid al-Adha. Reflection. This was not just a story about sacrifice, it was about submission. Because real faith begins when reason ends, when you obey, not because you understand, but because you trust. Israeliyat narrations. Non-authentic. Some narrations from Israeliyat say that Shaitan appeared to Ibrahim 3 times during this test, first to him, then to Hajar, and then to Ismail, trying to dissuade them from obeying Allah. Each time, Ibrahim threw stones at him, symbolizing rejection of temptation. While this isn't confirmed in Quran or Sahih Hadith, it forms the symbolic root of the stoning of the pillars during Hajj, representing defiance against Shaitan. Think about that. A father willing to give up his son, a son willing to give up his life, both smiling through their tears because they trusted Allah more than themselves. And yet, we hesitate to even give up a single sin. So before you swipe away, ask yourself, if Allah asked you for something today, could you surrender like Ibrahim? If this story awakened even a fraction of that courage inside you, don't just feel inspired, act on it. Like this video, share it, and subscribe, so you never drift away from reminders that shake your soul awake. Because stories like these aren't just history, they're your mirror. The building of the Kaaba and the legacy of submission years after the test of sacrifice. Prophet Ibrahim, alayhi salam, returned once again to Makkah. By now, Ismail, alayhi salam, was a grown man, strong, righteous, and devoted to Allah, just like his father. One day, Allah commanded them both to build something that would outlive empires, kings, and generations. A sanctuary. A house of worship. A symbol of unity for all mankind. That sacred command was the building of the Kaaba. Ibrahim and Ismail began the task with their own hands. No grand machines, no helpers, no wealth. Just 2 men lifting stones in the desert, brick by brick, guided by faith alone. With each stone they laid, they recited, "Rabbana taqabbal minna," O our Lord, accept this from us. Indeed, you are the all-hearing, the all-knowing. Surah Al-Baqarah 2127. Subhanallah. They weren't boasting of their achievement. They were begging for acceptance. Because even when you do something great for Allah, what truly matters isn't what you build, but why you build it. As the walls of the Kaaba rose, Ismail brought stones while Ibrahim positioned them. When the walls became too high, he stood upon a special stone, and that stone still bears his footprints today. It is known as Maqam Ibrahim. The Kaaba was completed in that barren valley, a cube of simple stones, but glowing with divine purpose. Allah commanded Ibrahim to proclaim pilgrimage to it, saying in Surah Al-Hajj 22:27, "And proclaim to the people the Hajj, they will come to you on foot and on every lean camel. They will come from every distant path." And so the message spread across the world, men and women answering a call that echoed through time. Thousands of years later, we still respond to that same call when we raise our voices in Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik during Hajj. A call first made by Ibrahim, alayhi salam, and answered by every soul who walks toward Allah. The covenant and the prayer for a final messenger. When the Kaaba was built, Ibrahim, alayhi salam, made a prayer that would change the course of history forever. He said in Surah Al-Baqarah 2:129, "Our Lord, send among them a messenger from themselves, who will recite to them your verses and teach them the book and wisdom, and purify them." This was the dua for Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a prayer made by Ibrahim thousands of years before his birth. And when the final messenger was sent, it was through the lineage of Ismail, alayhi salam, fulfilling that ancient supplication. Subhanallah. The dua of a prophet became the beginning of the final message to mankind. Israeliyat narrations, non-authentic. Some Israeliyat narrations mention that when Ibrahim was building the Kaaba, angels descended to show him the exact foundation where it had once stood before the time of Nuh, alayhi salam. They say the Kaaba had existed in earlier generations but was buried during the flood, and Allah guided Ibrahim to rebuild it upon its original spot. While this is not confirmed in Quran or Sahih Hadith, it reflects the symbolic belief that the Kaaba's sanctity was ancient, a divine connection between heaven and earth that transcended generations. Reflection from fire to exile, from loneliness to leadership, from heartbreak to legacy. Ibrahim, alayhi salam, lived a life that proved one thing, that when you walk with Allah, every loss leads to a greater gain. His story wasn't one of ease, but of purpose, and his legacy wasn't built on comfort, but on obedience. He was a man who built a house for Allah on earth, and in return, Allah built for him a house in Jannah. So ask yourself, what are you building for Allah right now? If Ibrahim could raise the Kaaba in the middle of a desert, why can't you raise your soul in the middle of a sinful world? Don't let these stories just entertain you. Let them transform you. Like this video, share it, and subscribe, so your heart doesn't grow numb to the messages Allah sent to wake it up. And when you're ready to begin your own journey back to Him, start the 7-day journey from darkness to light. It's your personal call to rebuild what's been lost inside you, the same way Ibrahim rebuilt the house of Allah, because your heart is your Kaaba, and it's time to rebuild it. The final years of Ibrahim, alayhi salam, and his everlasting legacy. As the years passed, Prophet Ibrahim, alayhi salam, grew old. His beard turned white, his steps became slower, but his heart remained as firm as the day he stood before Nimrod, as pure as the moment he walked away from idols, and as full of hope as when he called to his Lord beneath the stars. Even in old age, he continued to preach Tawheed, that there is only one God worthy of worship without partner, son, or equal. He would travel from land to land, calling people to surrender not to their kings, not to their wealth, but to Allah alone. According to the Quran, Surah An-Nahl 16:120-122, Allah describes him in powerful words. Indeed, Ibrahim was a nation, devoutly obedient to Allah, inclining toward truth. And he was not of those who associate others with Allah. He was grateful for his favors. Allah chose him and guided him to a straight path. Subhanallah. Allah didn't just call him a prophet, He called him an ummah, a nation in himself. Because his faith alone outweighed the disbelief of nations, his obedience alone stood as a banner of truth in a sea of falsehood. The reunion and the end tafsir narrations tell us that Ibrahim, alayhi salam, lived long enough to see both his sons, Ismail and Ishaq, alayhim as-salam, grow into prophets of Allah. He would visit them, give them advice, and remind them always to hold on to the message of Tawheed. Some narrations say that when his time came, the angel of death came to him and said, "O friend of Allah, are you ready to go?" And Ibrahim replied, "How can a friend dislike meeting his beloved?" Then the angel said, "And how can the beloved dislike meeting his friend?" And so, his soul was taken with peace, the peace that comes only to those who have given everything for Allah. Israeliyat narrations, non-authentic. Some Israeliyat sources mention that after his death, Ismail and Ishaq buried their father near Sarah, alayha salam, in the cave of Machpelah, a place still recognized by many today as the cave of the patriarchs in Hebron. While this detail isn't confirmed in Quran or Sahih Hadith, it symbolizes the beautiful reunion of a family that stood together for the worship of Allah, against all odds and across all lands. His legacy. Across generations, every prophet after Ibrahim, alayhi salam, from Ishaq and Yaqub to Musa, Dawood, Isa, and finally Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, carried a piece of his light. His dua echoed through the centuries until it reached the final messenger, the answer to his prayer. And to this day, we remember him in every salah when we say, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad, kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim. That alone is proof that his legacy will never die. Reflection. Ibrahim alayhi salam was not a man of convenience. He was a man of conviction. He broke idols even when it meant exile. He walked into fire even when it meant death. He left his family in the desert because Allah said so, and he was ready to sacrifice his son when his Lord commanded it. That's not just faith, that's absolute surrender, the kind of faith that doesn't question why, but whispers, "Yes, my Lord." So the real question is, what has your faith cost you? Because if your Islam costs you nothing, it might mean you've never really lived it. My dear viewer, you just spent the last half hour walking with one of the greatest men in human history. But what will you do after this video ends? Will you close the app, or will you close the gap between you and Allah? Don't let the story of Ibrahim, alayhi salam, be another tale you forget tomorrow. Let it become your turning point, your personal hijrah away from sin, doubt, and distraction. If this story moved your heart, like this video, share it and subscribe, so that the message of Tawheed continues to reach hearts that are asleep. And when you're ready to rebuild your faith, to return to Allah with the same submission Ibrahim showed, begin the 7-day journey from darkness to light. It's not free, because transformation never is, but what it gives you back is priceless. Faith, focus, and a heart that finally says, Kala inni wajjahtu wajhiya lilladhi fatara samawati wal ard hanifan. Indeed, I have turned my face toward the one who created the heavens and the earth, inclining only to him. This completes the story of Prophet Ibrahim, alayhi salam, the father of prophets, the builder of the Kaaba, and the man whose life taught us that true faith is action in motion.